bless and be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of connection, peace, and warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community and around the globe, and we affirm that always and in all ways, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. At Unity Spiritual Center, your prayer is our prayer too. Amen.
Okay, more soul music today. It is more cowbell day, and actually cowbell would be very good on this one. This is a tune actually written by Isaac Hayes, if all you remember Hot Buttered Soul, okay, and Shaft. He wrote all the music for Shaft. Actually, I have to tell this story now that I've adjusted the lyrics to fit what we're doing today, but I didn't have to do much to make this happen. But Isaac Hayes actually won an Academy Award for his score for Shaft, and because he did it in a very unorthodox way, all the other score writers were worried about the future of the music for films. But because of him, that whole industry changed and added that whole scenario to what can happen behind a film and how you can actually do it. And just to give you a clue, Isaac could write music and he was quite fun, but he was having fun with this movie and he went in and he sang the parts in the studio to all the people, because it was a rock and roll band basically with some horn players and some things, and said, this is what you're going to play, you're going to sing this, and they would do it, rehearse it, do it, and then actually record it. And for the industry that was like, what? But it turned out to be really cool. It was the coolest soundtrack ever. I mean, that chicka wow 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 wow. Okay, now I've said all that. Sorry, Jerry. I'm time filling here. Okay, so whatever, something like that. Anyhow, yeah. And also, I didn't tell Jerry that there's a huge party here afterwards, and we're going to empty the refrigerator. But I didn't want to let him know that while he was actually here. Okay. This is to all the volunteers, and you know who you are, and we appreciate it so much. And if you are a percussionist, this is a good tune to jump in on. So it sounds like this. And I should mention, the band last night did this tune. And I said, oh my, I'm doing that in church tomorrow. How cool is that? You didn't have to do the things you did, but you did, yes you did. And we thank you. You didn't have to step up like you did, but you did, yes you did. And we thank you. You gave us your time here in this place. There is such joy when we see your face. Your spirit and strength inspires us all. If there is a need, you answer the call. You didn't have to sacrifice your time, but you did, yes you did. And we thank you. You didn't have to give us one thin dime, but you did, yes you did. And we thank you. So every day you're giving us another clue. We put on our best and are fine to do. You got us trying new things too, just so we can keep up with you. And I thank you. Oh yes, I thank you. Didn't have to do the things you did, but you did, but you did. And we thank you. You didn't have to step up like you did, but you did, yes we did. And we thank you. Oh, you gave us your time here at this place. There is such joy when we see your face. Your spirit and strength inspires us all. If there is a need, you know you'll answer the call. And we thank you. Oh, yes, we thank you. Oh, yes, we thank you. Oh, we thank you. drum flare up. I love it, man. I just love it up here. I'm glad you all can see that now. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone. Today we're doing slightly different. It's a whole celebration of thanks. And we have special little thank you gifts for those who grace us with their generosity of time each year. And let me get my list here. I'm going to go in alphabetical order by last name. And not everyone is here, but we will give them a warm round of applause. Okay. For those who aren't here, these two first, Craig and Kelly Beal, our dynamic duo of husband and wife. Craig has been incredible in the many, many years that he's been here. He's helped with so many times with these art installations. So we thank him for so much of beautifying this place. And always ready to lend a hand with a tool, anything that needs doing. He's been very, very much there when we need. And then Kelly, also for being an usher for many years as their dynamic duo being here. So Craig and Kelly, if you are online, thank you. She's not here today, but always with us in spirit, Candy Corbett, who is our hospitality extraordinaire. And she's still done so much with so much going on in life. So we thank her for all the dedication she's given us in her creativity, her loving cooking and decorating. We thank Candy. And with no bias, we thank Ruben Diaz, my husband. I'm trying to think where to start. I thank him for being the one to have discovered to come in here 7 years ago, and that you are now our spiritual family. We thank you for all the rhythm and dance that you bring to this place, the spice of life. And we thank you for setting up wonderful new things like the drumming circle. So there is a drumming circle today, so please join us at 1:30. Stick around and drum. Thank you very much. And let's see who else we have here. Shirley's here. Shirley Harris, we thank you so much for your amazing spirit, everything that you've done year after year after year, making it here to be usher, to be greeter, to be every wonderful thing to welcome folks, and for all that you've gone through in these past few years. Thank you for being here with us. For Michael Hatfield. I think there are not enough thank yous to shower you with, but we'll do the best we can today. We thank you every Sunday. We thank you for your years and years of dedication to fill this place and fill our hearts with harmony and love, and that infuses through your enthusiasm, through the chords and the drum and the everything that you infuse in us. We can't help but bring it out to the world every week. Thank you. Yes, as Juanita said, you fill our soul. We thank Valerie Hatfield, who is here in spirit with us. We hold her with such kindness for also doing whatever ever is needed, be it from keeping the flowers in the sanctuary beautiful, having the wonderful Christmas decorations up, and for everything. I can't even think of what not to thank her for. Oh, for being in the garden all these years, beautifying, keeping things out there looking lovely. And we thank her and send her our love. Two folks who are not here, Cheryl Hodgins and Mary Ellen Jirac. We thank them for their years of service of so many sorts. They ran the children's church, and I know those children are now probably parents. So hopefully they have been instilled, yes, with unity in their hearts, that they may have carried that and hopefully continued in unity after graduating into adulthood. And also for all the work they've done with the Course in Miracles, and also for their Reiki healing, both teaching and continuing Reiki healing. Thank you. And we have thank you for Brian Lance, our incredible bring us stories of life and how it affects you and how it affects us, reminding us that giving is one of the biggest gifts we can give ourselves, by being able to bring that love to others and thus bring it to us. And thank you for making the coffee whenever not even being asked. Thank you. Thank you to Susan Ledford. I think you may be online, our fearless vice president. She has been a blessing. She walked around the corner not too many years ago and decided this is the place to see and stay. And she's rolled up her sleeves and been on the board for 3 years or so. So thank her for all that she's done and her wonderful kindness and leadership. Thank you. And we have thank you, Kathy Russell, for being all that you are, the wonderful kindness and creativity of all the parties that you've helped to have our social gatherings be full of fun, for your leadership as board president for 2 cycles in a row. Thank you so much for that. And thank you just for all the wonderful spirit that you bring to our community. You've got thank you to Ethel Tang Kwan, who's not here today, but we want to thank her for all her dedication and time all these years. If you've not been here lately, we know that she's here for so many years as greeter, usher, welcome. And her presence is a steady presence that's been a wonderful part of this community. And we thank Ethel. And we thank Juanita Taiski for bringing, I don't know everything, your wonderful, coordinated, beautiful creations for our hats, our bellies. Thank you for the creative spirit that you infuse every time you're in this building, and all the care that you give us in just being who you are. The joy that you bring with you is something that we all benefit. Thank you so much. And, thank you to the person who's giving the thank yous. Thank you to Randy Swindell for being an amazing treasurer, we, again, cannot thank you enough. All that you've given us. She is here to provide us with infinite amount of Zoom. She has done an incredible legacy of what will last for decades, which is to sponsor the Unity, the artwork that you see up here, this beautiful work of art. What's what's on our steeple and helping us every year in being just an incredible force of, I would almost say quiet. Quiet in the way that the steadiness that just does not give up of how much she has given to us as soon as she came in through the doors of Spirit and in every way. And I thank you for being our steady rock as treasurer and family member here.
And is this the appropriate time for me to, I have no words for what Joe has done through this transition with Maggie's leaving and Jerry is our interim, and she's doing such an amazing job of shepherding us into our next, dare I say, 75 years. Again, I have no words. She's incredible. Joe, you are just amazing. So thank you for all you do. I love you.
Oh, thank you. We have another person that I have not enough thank yous for, Ron Willis, who, again, without you, this place would not be what it is. Ron is everything under the sun. And the roof, yes, the roof. He's kept our roof above us. But anywhere and anywhere, Ron is his place in here. His presence is infused in every single part of what we walk into every week, what we don't even recognize is there, what keeps this place going, from the plumbing to anything that needs, anything that needs to be done by hand, it's there. Anything that needs to be done by hand on the rhythm, on the beat, that is amazing. And yeah, again, endless thanks. Thank you for being who you are. And thank you to, who's not here, Reverend Jerry, for his amazing ability to step into the role that he has now seamlessly. He has, again, in his own kind, easygoing way, been able to steer a ship that needs to, keep looking forward, and he's made it happen. And thank you for your kind leadership. Thank you. Adrian, yes, thank you. Thank you, Adrian Edens, for bringing your special heart when you come every time. We are so grateful for being usher, welcome, greeter, and just, again, being there for when we are needed. We thank you for coming across the East Bay when you are here. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. Okay, let me see. Oh, last and not least, if she's online, hello. Thank you to our secretary, Helen Yee. Thank you for her many years of being here, her spirit of healing. She is an Eastern medicine healer specializing in acupuncture. And with her, she brings her spirit of whenever I'm around her, I feel her aura of healing and grounding. So I thank you for her service. So at this time, what I will do is we're going to make it an interactive storytelling time. I am going to start with my own story of what giving means to me by just sharing one volunteer experience. But I invite all of you, we'll send around a microphone as you raise your hand to share a story. It could be short or however long you want it to be, of how giving, as I said, from giving to others, we get so much back. And I find that, if you're feeling kind of blue, how to how to take care of that, go out and help somebody. And it could be as, as simple as holding the door open for someone, but it can be very profound in how we find ourselves giving over the years. So I will start with my story. When I was in college, first year of college, it was, of course, first time being away. I moved from San Francisco to San Diego. And as we're all trying to get used to being in a new environment, no parents around, all of a sudden it became like I felt untethered, because all of a sudden there's too much to try to understand. How do you study without anyone telling you to study? How do you go to class without anyone saying you should or should not go? And then the big part of, adjusting to socially. There's all of these people, and now I'm living with people I don't know, and it's mostly fun, but it's a whole lot of everything that felt not completely grounded yet. So what I decided to do is I've always, since even freshman year in high school, I've always volunteered in hospitals. And so I was trying to figure out what I can do. So I thought I really, really love to work with children. And there was one hospital on campus, and I thought I'll go there first. So I went over there, and I said, can I please volunteer at your pediatrics department? And the gentleman smiled and said, this is the Veterans Hospital. We don't have children here. And I'm like, oh, okay, whoops. So I learned very quickly what VA stands for. So then I looked a little bit further, and off campus at UC San Diego is the medical center. So you take a shuttle and go down about 17 minutes, and then there is the training hospital there. So I went in, I asked the same question, do you have a place to work with children? And they did, which was a wonderful experience, because I started as they put me in, it's kind of the playroom, I suppose, for the children's ward. And there are a combination of children who are there just for, a couple days of some kind of, inpatient treatment. And then there's children who are, chemotherapy patients, children who come back on a regular basis to be seen for very serious illness. So what I did was I usually would sit and wait for kids, or not for kids, sometimes they were mostly there, and they would be with the parent, and I would play, set up things to play with them. And then every once in a while there were no children there. I would go every Friday afternoon after school. And so I thought, well, I can't just sit here, because if no kids are here, I still need something to do. So what I ended up doing was I went through different rooms, because many of the reasons why the children couldn't be there are the ones that were very ill. So those who were recovering from chemotherapy, perhaps too tired that day to come in. So what I did was I would take something in and just say, here, let's play together. I'd go to their room and play together. And then usually there's always a parent around too. So I would leave something there that the family could interact with. And so, and then there were some patients that could come physically. So I would bring them in, and then we had a piano. So I'd teach them how to play a duet, Heart and Soul usually. And that was very nice. And there was one time that was the most moving for me, which there was a boy where he did come in. He was 6.5 years old, and he came in, and he was so frail, but he really wanted to play and connect. And then his mom came in and said, we do have to leave now. Let's go back to the room. And he was so hesitant, like, I don't want to go back. And so she said, well, after we play, after we go back to the hospital bed, we'll come back. And then he looked at me. I think I'd been with him for about 20 minutes before his mom came in. And he said, I'll only go back if she comes back, meaning me. So I thought, okay, that's great. So I went, and what he was actually having to go back for was to get an ultrasound, because he had just had open heart surgery within the last week. And he did this gentle, small 6-year-old who was recovering from stitches from open heart surgery, and he knew the pain of when you pushed down on an ultrasound. It was going to hurt. And what came out of it was that his mother started crying, because she saw the pain he was going through, and she looked like she was still in her 20s. And he, being this tiny little child, said, "Don't worry, Mom, it doesn't hurt so much." I thought, oh my gosh, there's a little child who can find that in him to naturally comfort his mother. So what I found the most, it was really, really helpful. This is what calmed me. Excuse me, is on those days where there were really no kids who were, they were all just very tired and they couldn't make it out. They, just had no energy to want to connect with me, to play for that afternoon. I would go up to the NICU, so the neonatal intensive care unit. And these are children that, the ones that I was allowed to carry, they were recovering again from serious illnesses, and their parents had been with them every single day for hours and hours. And so the NICU nurses said, "You know what you can do? You can just be the person to hold the baby so that the parents can go get, a break, go eat something, be out just for a couple of minutes." I thought, yes, I want to do that. And it was amazing because there's all these babies, they're so tiny, and but a lot of them were colicky, so they were always very fussy and hard for them to be comfortable, so they were crying all the time. And inevitably, it always happened after holding them at, just like a baby, as if you're burping a baby. For 10 to 15 minutes, they would calm down, probably after 5 minutes, and just fall asleep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And that was my grounding, finally having that heart-to-heart connection and seeing how simple so I guess this is why people have pets. I mean, these children weren't talking, they're so young, but they were able to make this connection to me to find how to tether myself back down to this whole new world. So that has been one of my deepest, profoundest experience of volunteering. So at this time, I invite you to share your story of something that's really moved you, or just what you find wonderful about being a volunteer.
I just have a quick story about volunteering your talent or something that you know to somebody that it will make a difference for. So back when I was 18 years old, I was going to school at Indiana University. I was a percussion major, and where that sort of leads there is an orchestra, which I really didn't have that much interest in. I thought this guy, Gary Burton, was a really cool player, and he was doing a show in upstate Ohio, 300 miles away. I found a quick way to get up there with some friends, and I ran into some friends there who were from my university and said, "Oh, we'll give you a ride back in the morning." They left in the middle of the night and left me. And so I'm thumbing outside of here, and I'm not doing so well. And this Travelall pulls over, says, "You looked really familiar." And it was the guy I went to see, Gary Burton. And it turns out that his house was 5 miles from my dormitory in Indiana University. So for the next 3 hours, the guy I thought was the coolest guy in the world shared all his stuff with me. It changed my life. Got me into Berklee College of Music, got me a job there. So everything changed from that little moment, and a guy who just said, "I'll help you out. Here's some music. Call these people, do this, I'll write you a letter." He didn't have to do any of that. He didn't even have to pick me up.
Thank you, Michael. Well, don't be shy. Oh, Reuben.
I was talking with my sister yesterday on the phone, and she was telling me about my mom who would go out in the garden and find these little birds, sparrows falling on the ground, and she would puff air into their little beaks, and sometimes they would come back alive, and sometimes they would be dead. And I learned a lot from my mom, and I volunteer so that my family, my boys can see that it's important to think about others and other than yourself.
I'll share. It's not a volunteer position, but it was my first job, real paying job besides babysitting. And your hospital story reminded me of it. But I got a job as a dishwasher in a children's unit at a hospital. And it was a live-in place for kids that were born with birth defects and other things that wouldn't let them out in the regular environment. This was late 60s, early 70s. And anyway, so I had to chop up the food because some of them couldn't eat it. You know, it came from the main hospital, but I had to chop it up and, you know, so that it was kind of pureed and that kind of thing. And I developed, and it was every day, and I had to cut up food and smush it and feed the kids and then wash all the pots and pans. But you know what, it prompted me to go into special ed. And I became a special ed teacher, first as a speech therapist and then as a special ed classroom teacher, and did that for 44 years. So it was all, I think it was that thing that prompted me that I had a place to work, and I enjoyed it. And learned a lot.
Thank you, Kathy.
Good morning. And first I want to say thank you to all of you here. And I know that this is pretty much a show up and do it kind of church, that there's probably very few paid positions in the Unity family. So I have been blessed by all of you, and so thank you, and I just really add my appreciations. But my name's Carol, and I am actually got to California to come and to volunteer full-time with AmeriCorps, and I'm hoping we have a I hope we have a little chance to talk about that sometime, because it's very dear to my heart, and I think this would be a chance to share about some other opportunities. But I did want to just emphasize, like what Kathy was saying about building relationships with these children and with the NICU, and that someone that spent time changed Michael's life, that what you do makes a difference. And even if it's just holding someone's hand when they're having a hard time, because often when there's a hospice situation or a very severe illness or a loss, I found, got a brand new roommate this week, and immediately she had a situation where her friend lost a nephew that was only 30, and it's hard to know what to say to someone. So just to be there and to say, I'm here, and I don't have all the proper words, but I'm here. And so she just quietly made tons of food and showed up with chairs and tables and flowers, and she supported her friend. But I want to say some things that changed my life, and that coming from Michigan, I'm a proud member of the Potawatomi Nation, but when we were growing up, it's going to sound ridiculous because I'm this blonde, blue-eyed lady standing here, but my grandma's big thing is she had to pass for white. She was put into the Indian schools and had a very difficult life, and that the idea was to break up the families and to take away the culture. So you tried to hide because Indians couldn't get jobs and things. But she was able to assemble the airplanes in Detroit, and was one of the first female truck drivers for long haul, and she wasn't going to let anybody tell her no. But she just, tried to pass, as she said. And so a lot of things she wouldn't tell us because she didn't want the government to get us and to take us away. So as an adult, I sought out as many Indian elders and teachers as I could, and I have been so blessed in my life that to be given traditional songs and traditional stories, that everything comes from an oral tradition. And I say che miigwech to all those that shared with me, and to get to know them is I kept showing up for all of their events, that I would serve at their ghost supper, that I would sell fry bread at their booth at the festival. And they go, what's that thing that you're always talking about? And so I got to talk many of them into coming to this Heart Healthy program I was doing for the health department. And we talked about how to take traditional foods and to make them more healthy and to honor ourselves, that every time you go to the center and you're honoring the four directions, but you're in the middle of that with the Creator. And the healthier you are, the healthier you are for your ancestors and your parents and your grandparents, and the healthier you are for your children. So you're responsible for 7 generations. So you do everything you can to watch how your pebble makes the ripple in the pond, that you want it to be good ripples going out. I was just so blessed by doing that, but I made those relationships by volunteering. So if there's something you want to know about, maybe music or art or a medicine area, another culture, start showing up and volunteering, and you're going to make some beautiful friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol.
I'm thinking about I was thinking back, the first time I volunteered, I was probably 15 or 16, and it was at the Booker T. Washington Community Center over on Presidio. And that was literally 60 years ago. And that was my first volunteer experience. And I've volunteered all my life because I know I get so much more out of it than what I put into it. And, I've been blessed with abundance, and the only way to keep it is to give it away. And one of my favorite volunteer jobs is I was volunteering as a patient liaison in UCLA Hospital. And that was sort of a liaison between the nurses, the doctors, and the patients and their families. And while I was doing that, I'd been doing that for about 8 or 9 years, and then I was diagnosed with lymphoma. And so I had the experience of being on that other side of the curtain. And I got great care at UC, being a volunteer, I got wonderful care, but it was quite an experience to be on the other side of that curtain, and that really was an absolute blessing. So, thanks.
Well, I started, I guess, volunteering probably as a teenager, but I didn't think of it as volunteering. It was, and it was really with my sister and brother. I was the oldest, and it was my job to see that, they got to school on time, and also that I made sure that they got home on time. By then, our mom was divorced, so she was working 2 jobs as a nurse, and it was also my job to help them with their homework. And there's 10 and 12 years difference in our ages now, but we are best of friends, and it just lifts my heart when I'm with them and they will say, "Oh, Shirley, thank you for being there." And my brother always brags that she made me sit at that table and learn my timetables, and thank you for doing that. Another, I guess, just giving back has always been important to me. I lost my husband in 2005 to a brain tumor, but I have this love and affinity for older people, and sometimes their children, who were sometimes maybe my friends or acquaintances, weren't available to take them to their doctor's appointments, and I was available, so I would do that. And I also am a person who takes notes, so I had a little book for each person that I took to the doctor, and I'd write up what the doctor said and what they needed to do and that kind of thing. But the appreciation back was when my husband went into hospice with the brain tumor. They were all there for me, just all, no matter what. Shirley will come and sit with Jerry while you go run errands. So I guess the motto is that what you give, you get back tenfold. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing those stories. And I know for each of us, we have that feeling, and I think very much why we're here is giving of ourselves, giving of our spirit, our light is what keeps this world going. And we wouldn't be able to live life without keeping that connection and through volunteering. That is a big part of it. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so here at Unity Spiritual Center, we are an ocean of love. We have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. Please join me with saying them aloud. Our vision is, centered in God, we co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritually awakening. Our mission is, we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling so inspired by our vision, mission, and values, and feeling so enriched by what we've experienced here today, let us take time now to be a channel for generous enrichment through our tithes and love offerings. As Michael shares the next beautiful song, please take time to write out a check to USC, or if you're on Zoom, to make a donation online. If you are here in the sanctuary, the ushers will come forward to take your offering. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected each month to various Unity organizations and local nonprofits serving our city. Let us now take a moment to bless our tithes and love offerings as we cup them in our hands or next to our hearts. Let us say our offering blessing, which is on your screen. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
All right, I'm going to make some racket. More racket, just like the racket we just played. E, and if you want to play, come on up. Somebody's got to give it, and somebody must receive. It's an endless cycle in which we all believe. Gotta get something started, 'cause nothing happens till something moves. Wrap your head around it, the giving and receiving grooves. I'll listen to your story if you give me a smile. I'll receive that smile and give away my time for a while. Oh, I'll help you fix your car, and you can give me a ride. You receive my gratitude. Check it out, there's no downside, 'cause somebody's got to give it, and somebody must receive. It's an endless cycle in which we all believe. You gotta get something started, 'cause nothing happens till something moves. So wrap your head around it, the giving and receiving grooves. A little bit more to the story right here. When I'm feeling lonely, you keep me company. Once you get me laughing, oh, it makes good chemistry. Oh, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. a spiritual massage. Everybody gets on the train, the entire entourage all together, 'cause somebody's got to give it and somebody must receive. It's an endless cycle in which we all believe. Oh, you gotta get something started, 'cause nothing happens till something moves. So wrap your head around it. Oh, the giving and receiving grooves. The giving and receiving grooves. The giving and receiving grooves. That's it. That's the way it goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
You are so welcome.
This time we bless our offerings. Please repeat after me. Spirit of the living God, bless the acts of our hands, our minds, our hearts. May everything offered here at Unity Spiritual Center be a reflection of all that is good within us. Grant us the courage to patiently listen for the stirring of your presence. Enliven our spirits with humor. Fill us with reverence for one another and gratitude for our diversity. May unity, beauty, and truth be the fruit of all we do, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Too many thanks to give, but thank you so much for everyone who's helped today. We've got, I think, Kathy, were you up front doing ushering or welcoming, all of the above. Thank you to Adrian Edens for ushering. We have some announcements. Let me see. Oh, February 15th, if you've not done so yet, please fill out your membership renewal directory form. I believe there's one, they're on the back. They're kind of dark tan color. Okay, thank you. And for the drumming circle, if you can, please join us for the rhythm. Oh, today's one of them. The next one is the next first Sunday. That's at 1, is it 1:30? 1:30, yeah? Okay. And then please stay with us next Sunday. After hospitality, we will immediately start putting together our blessing bags. And there is also a sign-up sheet for any donations you can bring. There's items that we've listed. Let me see. And this is for a great cause. We're going to be giving, hopefully on a very regular basis, these toiletry blessing bags to our first place will probably be Huckleberry House, but a shelter for homeless teens. And our book study group, has it started? Oh, it starts February 23rd, Thursday on Zoom, 4 o'clock. And the book is Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this one is very tiny, but the thing to put on your calendar here is Saturday, March 18th. Is when it's a two-part thing. We're going to work with Reverend Jerry's other church, their congregation. The thing we need is if we can get up to 20 pairs of hands, 10 from there, 10 from here, at least. We will be meeting up, I think as early as maybe 1 o'clock. We'll be in a wonderful kitchen, a big kitchen over at Reverend Jerry's church on Forest Hill, and we're going to cook. And then in the afternoon, bring it to a shelter to actually serve. So if you can't make the entire time, please come for one or the other. But if you can for the entire time, it would be a wonderful experience, yes. Do you know the hours? Yeah, I think it's going to be, if you can go back one slide. Let me see, does it say there? It doesn't say the time. I think it's going to be between 1:30, I don't know if it's
Jerry,
as
put it
early
in the
as
chat,
1:30.
Jerry, and
Oh,
then,
you put it
then we'll
there?
read it out.
Okay. Yeah, I think the serving portion is around 5:30 or so. The cooking portion may be around 1:30-ish. And if you know of anyone who's not even part of Unity, please encourage them to come. I think it'll be a wonderful experience. Let's see what's next. Again, this is to be decided, but keep it in mind. What's wonderful about we shared today, we get a chance to do this activity called the World Cafe, where we'll set up tables and a bit of drink and probably a little bit of food, and be able to have just a common theme. And then I think it almost sounds like speed dating. a couple of minutes here, you rotate to the next table and have probably a variation on the theme of what that day's theme is. So do keep in mind that's to come, and please, feel free to be any part of it, to bring snacks, to facilitate, and just to be here. That's the biggest thing. And as always, platform assistant, ushering, greeting, hospitality, dancing, singing, we'll take it all. And thank you for those who have brought in hospitality treats in the past, and we always welcome more donations.
And I
anytime you
have
like.
tested the chocolate chip cookies, and they are something else. And I have high standards.
Very nice, thank you.
And Jerry does say that they'll cook early afternoon and serve at 5:30.
Okay, thank you. And in the newsletter, you should be seeing more and more detail, and we'll actually have more details in the slides as it gets closer to that date. And that's March 18th, I believe. And we continue to have our daily word readings and guided meditation, which I think Reverend Jerry will be able to restart this week, Mondays and Thursdays at noon on our regular Zoom link. Correct, yes. And at this time, let us bless our children. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you for everything that we all bring to this community, to the world, and the hands that are holding each other. We carry the energy and light to the world, to our loved ones, and to those all around the world. And let us go to this day and this week knowing that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God.